Over the past 5 years, the wealth held by the top 0.1% has nearly doubled from 12 trillion to over 23 trillion. Do you guys think Zoran Mamdani is going to be the person who stops this? Do you guys think continuing to organize within a capitalist structure will end this problem? This is why it's upon us to get class to start engaging in class struggle. Don't use electoral politics as a way to substitute class war. And what our job to do as the reactionary, what their response to the drug crisis is to give more power to the capitalist class. We're going to build a police state, and we have the police state occupy other people's communities because we have a failed central planning model that leads to diseases of despair.
Mm-hmm.
Because the capitalist class is unable to address this, they blame everything except themselves. So it's China's fault, Dr. Stein. It's now Nicolas Maduro's fault. It's Mexico's fault. It's everyone's fault except ourselves, even though Americans are the number one porter. When you see people at fentanyl on the border, the number one people that are caught are Americans smuggling it in. The drug problem is the result of American demand for drugs. The same demand that don't exist in China.
That's right.
That exists in other countries that actually have a rational society where people are not extracted for their labor value and kicked to the side because they don't have any health care. And people need to start getting class conscious real soon. And I'm connecting this to the labor story, Dr. Stein. Trust me, we getting there. Because you see, this is our opportunity. The whole point I'm getting to is opportunity right now because Trump is screwing the bed. Trump cares about sending billions of dollars to bail out their libertarian tech bro project in Argentina as the American economy is falling apart.
Yeah.
You got to realize it's only upheld by an AI bubble. And because of the expansion of AI, we have massive layoffs. We remember the doomsday prediction we all had when the advancement of AI and capitalism becomes way farther than what our social safety net is able to take care of. Hey, baby, we're already here, fam. Look at all these layoff announcements. UPS, Amazon, Intel, Nest, Ford. These places are laying off thousands of employers. And I'll read this because I know you're chopping at a bit to go, Joe. But look at this because I have a few things I want to say to set up our labor story. Look, over the past 5 years, the wealth held. Oh, sorry. Let me make it bigger. I know that's hard to hit for you guys to read. Here it is.
Okay.
Over the past 5 years, the wealth held by the top 0.1% has nearly doubled from 12 trillion to over 23 trillion. Do you guys think Zoran Mamdani is going to be the person who stops this? Do you guys think continuing to organize within a capitalist structure will end this problem? This is why it's upon us to get class to start engaging in class struggle. Don't use electoral politics as a way to substitute class war, which is what the Zoran Mamdani progressive left does. You notice, I don't know if you guys know, notice he's leaning more into identity politics now? I'm not saying that they're not making a point about Islamophobia, but I think it's been 100% clear that the Obama advisors got to him. Now it's all about identity politics. It's all about Islamophobia. It's all we got to take care of anti-Semitism. Where the class element? Where the class war at? It's not existent. He's meeting with landlords and telling them that we're not actually going to clamp down on your political power. That's what he said. Now, I know we previewed this a few times, and we want to discuss how labor can get involved in this moment. And we also can discuss how labor can get involved and actually stop the genocide, because this is a project that you and Chris Moss was involved in. Because we saw how the Italian working class was calling for general strikes. But the labor aristocracy in the United States has actually been enabling the genocide in Israel. Because I don't know if you guys remember when the port strike happened with the port workers, they had a asterisk to their strike where they said we will still provide weapons to Israel. Do you guys remember that? I know that was like months ago. So what? And Justin, I'll pass to you. I want you to explain this more. But we are demanding that labor become connected with the anti-imperialist struggle. Am I getting that right? Look, this is what Chris Moss said. For all the libs and Democrats who need something to do after the No Kings parades, The FI demand for AFL-CIO. But I'll let you explain. Dr. Stein, do you want to explain what this is?
Yes, but first, go back one slide because I want to
Yeah,
point something out. Yeah, I want to just get, the petition. Okay, because this is about doing something about it. So, Chris Smalls, big shout out to him because, he started off at Amazon and during COVID and people were getting sick and he wanted better protections for the workers. So that's where their whole movement started. And they, one thing led to another, and they basically created a union and they won against like a $3 trillion corporation. They were able to win the union election. And they're fighting, for better wages and healthcare and all that. But of course, they can't get a contract because big corporations have gotten really good as the demand for unionization grows, as workers are more increasingly thrown under the bus and unable to afford, their health care or their housing. And as the energy and demand for unions is skyrocketing, the corporations are getting really good at denying their contracts and stalling and just fighting very expensive battles in courts and one thing or another. But that's where he started, fighting for the rights of workers. And then because labor is inherently international and working people are, the struggles are very similar across borders. And labor has always been about human rights and, fighting the bosses and fighting oligarchy. So he became very involved in the struggle for Palestine and was part of the flotilla. And when the flotilla was intercepted by Israel, he was singled out as the one African American on the boat and beat up basically and put in solitary confinement and starved and treated horribly. He was not allowed to fly out. He was like deposited at the border with Jordan or something like that. I mean, he was just incredibly beat up, from start to finish. And as much of an anti-Zionist as he was before he went, he came out even more of an anti-Zionist. So, to his credit, he's really helping these movements unify. And so his next step right now is to bring the power of working people to the cause, to the Palestinian cause, and to basically shut down the economies. And what's happening now in Europe, which is so inspiring, is that the grassroots unions there, they're like the alternative unions. They are not like the top-down, sold-out, bought-out unions. They are the people-powered unions. And they are big and they're very powerful. And in particular, the union in Italy, which I'm referring to, it's referred to as USB. The port workers, the transportation workers, and the longshoremen and women are part of their union. So they declared a strike, and they've struck twice during October and completely shut down the economy of Italy. They not only stopped the shipments to Israel, they stopped the whole Italian economy, demanding that their government, divest, condemn the genocide, call out the genocide, but they also demand that their government support Uniting for Peace in the UN. So they bring it all together in a really exciting way. USB is really a model. We did a webinar at Lifeline for Palestine. We did a webinar with many of the union leaders. The leaders in USB, the union that has been going on strike, really successful strikes, and they bring out 1 million people, 1 to 2 million people in the streets. Their union, by the way, also includes social movements. It's a tenants union. It's healthcare workers. It is public sector, it is private sector, and it's transportation. So when they decide to shut down, they can really shut it down. And they are networking with other unions around Europe so that it's not just Italy, but Mediterranean-wide, which will be absolutely devastating. So at any rate, they are doing another strike on November 28th. And this is just a heads up. And you can find out more about that at Lifeline for Palestine and another website I'm going to give you in just a moment. But as part of building this movement to call labor out, Chris is focusing with other labor leaders, but he's really leading the charge here for labor to demand that the AFL-CIO stand up and uphold human rights, internationalism, and join the effort to condemn and call out the genocide, call it what it is, and to join the blockades, the weapons blockades. Now, is the AFL going to do that? I don't know, but we sure as hell should give them as much trouble as we possibly can. So there's a petition now, and thousands of people are signing this petition. Please go, and I'm going to give you that other website, which is in that slide that you just showed, the several piece slide set.
I think the link was down in the tweet, the one you had up. I think you might have to check the link on there.
Oh, then that's probably an old poster.
If you can send me the link, I can pull it up and we can put it in the description and all that. But okay. I want to share this because what has been going on with the labor movement, there have been many unions who have used this moment to condemn the genocide to the point where you have pro-genocide propagandists that has been, and this has been like Jewish supremacist groups that have been going after these unions. Like they went after the teachers union because the teacher union banned the ADL, and now they force the teachers and the teacher union to go through anti-Semitism training because of that. And now look, you guys see, they're smearing. The Zionists, they're now smearing union members as anti-Semitic. Look how labor unions feed campus anti-Semitism. And the argument that the Wall Street Journal is actually making, and this is what the ADL, this is what AIPAC, they are going after labor organizers like Chris Smalls because they refuse to support the genocide in Israel. And that's the argument that they are making, because if you look at the demands, you can see that the demands that you guys have are 100% serious. I put these up before, but I can read them off here to show you guys what Chris Smalls is demanding. And this is why Zionists are panicking, because they're realizing that they completely lost the labor movement. Now, me and Shama, we had conversations about the gatekeepers and the labor movement and how the labor aristocracy have sold us out many times before. So don't get me wrong, the Zionists are holding on by a thread with these labor sellouts. But the rank and file, and this is where the power is at. And me and Shama talking about this, we're talking about this now. The rank and file is ready to hold Israel accountable, using their labor as a power force. So just so for the people who haven't seen this, I'm gonna read the demands, and Dr. Joe Stein, I'll let you wrap us up because we will be getting to wrap up in a second. I'm gonna read the demands here. I'll pass it to you. Here's the first one: recognize Israel's campaigning in Gaza as genocide under international law. Every single labor union should do this. Shouldn't be controversial. Here's demand number 2. And what does it say that Bernie Sanders and AOC, Zoran, none of them have done this? Condemn the abduction and assault of Chris Smalls aboard the Gaza aid flotilla. All the people who did photo ops with Chris Smalls because it was trendy to do, all the progressive left, you know, if AOC didn't send a single tweet out in support of Chris Smalls, just to bring up the fake liberal Zionist left, like AOC, who, remember, we would never let her forget that she smeared Dr. Jill Stein, who's actually doing real work, and she don't even speak up for Chris Smalls, she doesn't speak up for Greta Thunberg, who was tortured and captured by Israel. Mm-hmm. What does that say about these people? All right, I'll shut up. Let me read the demand. Affirm the attacks on workers everywhere, anywhere, or attacks on all workers. This is a great demand. Affirm that attacks on workers anywhere are attacks on all workers. That's a great. 2 more here. Recognize Israel as an apartheid state consistent with Amnesty, the HR. Which one's that? HRW.
Human Rights Watch.
Oh, Human Rights. All right, thank you. Yeah. Human Rights Watch, the UN. This is a great demand as well. Demand 5: take direct action. Refuse to ship weapons. Cut ties with war profiteers. And mobilize union power to end the genocide. And these are the things that you can do that you mentioned before. But I'll pass it to you, Dr. Joe, to wrap this up. Any final thoughts on the labor action, standing in solidarity for Palestine? Any final thoughts on what we can do to get more involved in order to build what I and calling this giant anti-Zionist coalition to challenge a genocidal ruling class, because that's what this is. Like, this is the class struggle element of how we fight against the Zionist regime. So, Dr. Stein, any final thoughts before we begin to wrap up here?
Just to underscore that we have the power, and labor is the tip of the spear. Labor can actually shut down the economy. And this is the petition, and you definitely want to sign that petition now. We really need a groundswell. And tell everybody you know to sign this petition. Send out the link for it, which is bit.ly/disarm genocide, with capital D for disarm, capital G for genocide. It needs 2 caps. I think that's where the link screwed up before. So it's bit.ly/disarm genocide. And, join these 2 initiatives right now, because we need them both. We really need the power of labor to shut this down. But you know what happens when you shut down one port? They'll send it somewhere else, or if you shut down shipments to Israel, then it won't be a shipment to Israel. It will be a shipment to, some other third country. So it's very hard to completely shut it down. And we also have and let me just say, genocide doesn't usually stop itself. Genocide historically in modern times has required some kind of a protection force or boots on the ground to stop the genocide. So the UN initiative is really important, and it can really turn the tables in the UN, because the UN right now is under the stranglehold of the US and company, and it needs to be a place of people power. And by going to Lifeline for Palestine, we can tie you into both of those movements. Bottom line here is, the biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. We have it, and we can use it, and we can shut down this genocide. We can shut down the ports. There are ports here in the U.S. In the U.S., we are shipping weapons, on a daily basis. The U.S. is providing 80% of the weapons to the genocide. So it's really important. We can do this. Wherever you live across the country, you can play a powerful role. You can play a powerful role in compelling the AFL-CIO to stand up and do the right thing, and to just supporting the power of unions to do the right thing, to respect internationalism and human rights, and be the driving force against fascism, which labor historically has been, but is kind of sitting on the sidelines right now. So that power is in our hands. We have the numbers, we got the rank and file, we have the moral high ground. We don't have the leadership, and we need to kick that leadership out. So let's stand up and make it happen. We can do it. It's happening right now before our very eyes.